Okay, today we're going to look at making the perfect color of purple paint. In order to make purple paint, you need some red and you would need some blue. When I went to the paint store, I was looking for the perfect shade of purple paint. When I took it to the paint guy, he said you would need 3 drops of red and 4 drops of blue mixed together to get the perfect color of purple paint. So I can paint one of my rooms in my home. And that is for every 1 can of paint. So I started thinking, the ratio for 1 can of paint, 3 drops of red and 4 drops of blue. And the total number of drops that are being added to this can is going to be 7. But wait a minute. 1 can of paint is not enough to paint the entire room. So, I'm going to get another can of paint. So if I purchase 2 cans of paint, how many drops of red go into 2 cans of paint? There would be 6 drops of paint. And how many drops of blue go into 2 cans of paint? That would be 8 drops. My ratio would then be a 6 to 8 ratio, and I would have a total of 14 drops of paint. But 2 cans is not near enough. Let's go ahead and purchase 3 cans of paint. Think now, what are you doing to get not 1 can, but 3 cans of paint? And how many red drops are going in all 3 cans of paint at the paint store? How many blue drops are going in all 3 paint cans at the paint store? If you filled in 9 drops of red, you're right. And if you filled in 12 drops of blue, that's correct. So the ratio for 3 cans of paint is 9 to 12, and the total number of drops is 21. Now let's stop a moment and let's make sure that we have some math to support it. The first thing I want to identify is what is my base ratio. And because we're talking about cans of paint, we're going to consider my base ratio to be the magic formula that will work for every single can. My base ratio is my 3 to 4. So we're going to circle that and label 3 to 4 the base ratio. And I base my calculations to buy 2 cans, 3 cans, 4 cans, or even 10 cans of paint according to the base ratio, because I want to open up every single can and have the same color of purple in every single can. So we're going to show if I want 2 cans, then I multiply by 2. If I do that with the red drops, I need to do that with the blue drops. That's showing my scale factor. If I want 3 cans of paint, I come back to my base and say 3 times 3, and I get my 9 drops of red paint. 4 times 3, and we get our 12 drops of paint. After looking at how much wall was covered with 3 cans of paint, I realized when I went back to the paint store, I need much more than 3 cans of paint. I actually will need 8 cans of paint to paint the entire room. So now, fill in the rest of the table here. If I am purchasing 8 cans of paint, and I need to know how many total drops of red will go into the 8 cans, and how many total drops of blue will go into the 8 cans. And let's see if you're right. If I come back to my base, and I know I want to purchase 8 cans, my scale factor becomes 8. So 3 times 8 is 24. Come back to my 4, and I'm purchasing 8 cans, so my scale factor is times 8. And we would get 32. So when I add this together and get a total, remember I want to add these together and find out how many total drops. If my ratio is 24 to 32, when we add this together, we end up with 56 total drops. So now, let's talk about a formula or an equation that would work to get the same ratio, whether I'm buying 8 cans of paint or 250 cans of paint. What would the formula be for each and every can? My formula comes from my base, and my base is going to be 3 drops of red and 4 drops of blue per can. I don't know how many cans I want to purchase, so we're going to put a C behind the 3 representing our can, and a C behind the 4 representing our cans. So my ratio is 3C to 4C. When I find out how many I want, then I can take the C away and insert that number. Maybe it's 10. Maybe it's 279. I can replace the C and multiply by 3 to get the red and multiply by 4 to get the blue. So when I look at my total, it's going to be adding those two together.